Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp as we once again have a look at some of the games coming out for the Switch in this upcoming week. In terms of dates, we'll be going from the 22nd of June up until the 28th to see if there's anything releasing that's worth your time and money. So which games are coming out for the Switch this week? Well, let's find out. Let's start with a couple of games that are already out, and the first of those is from the recent Nintendo Direct. This is Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. As far as I can remember, this is the only game to drop immediately after the Direct, barring games for the Nintendo Switch Online or free updates. And I do believe that this was originally a mobile game based in the Metal Slug universe, of course, but instead of being a run and gun like its predecessors, is actually a tower defense game. It says there are over 300 unique characters in the game, 5 factions, and online play as you attempt to take down a host of enemies. It says you'll need to help the characters grow and build the strongest deck, using all kinds of strategies to crush enemy bases. There is a gallery mode included, and it also mentions there's another story which follows the characters in a lengthy sequel to the story. I'm not quite sure if I'm reading that wrong, if it's not explained very well. I don't know if that means there's a second game or a second story campaign on here that wasn't on the original, or I'm missing a reference to something to do with the previous games in the Metal Slug series. Either way, this is out now as I mentioned, and it sells for £8.99. One other game that is already out, we have Railbreak. This is a prelude to a game called Outbreak Shades of Horror, and is an on-rail shooter which you can play with a friend in local co-op. It looks as if it tells the story of a city that's been destroyed by a zombie outbreak, but it tells it via the way of you playing this scenario on an arcade machine. At least that's how I interpreted the trailer and the blurb that I'm reading to you now. It says there is a full story mode set across 6 scenarios, bonus modes including score attack and an endless onslaught mode, and 8 different survivors to unlock with their own unique loadouts. It mentions a glitch system that changes the game mechanics, which is what makes me think that you are playing it as a game in-game, if you know what I mean. And I do really love on-rail shooters, I always have done. It doesn't actually mention if it has gyro controls, surely it would have, that would be crazy to not include it. And it does look a decent amount of fun. It's already out as I mentioned, and it sells for £17.99 or your regional equivalent. Let's move on to the games coming out this week now then, and the first of those is Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble. This will be the third, I think, Super Monkey Ball game to come to the Switch now, and allows for up to 16 players to compete online across multiple game modes, or you can work together in 4-player co-op through the adventure mode. You can customise your character and the monkey ball with over 300 items, use the new spin dash move that allows players to sprint past rivals or create new shortcuts, play with up to 16 players online as I mentioned, or with up to 4 players locally in that new adventure mode. I've never given much time to the Super Monkey Ball series, I must say. I've played bits of it here and there over the years, but to have 3 games on one system, it must be doing something right. It releases on the 25th for £39.99. Next we have Frogun Encore, a sequel to indie game Frogun, and this time it calls itself a low poly adventure. It's a 3D platformer based off the original game's gameplay, but featuring a host of new movements such as double jumping, sling catapulting and toss jumping, whatever that is, according to the blurb, and you can play it in couch co-op should you wish. It says you'll be exploring whimsical areas and environments in a stylish low poly aesthetic, finding secret areas or shortcuts, and fighting against big bosses. I do remember the original Frogun game releasing on the Switch actually. I don't remember much more about it I must say, but this sequel will sell for £11.69 or your regional equivalent when it releases on the 25th. Also this week we have Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. This game first released on the 3DS. It was a sequel to Luigi's Mansion which came out on the GameCube, and has since had a sequel itself releasing on the Switch, Luigi's Mansion 3. This second game in the series took that initial concept from the original game and made it a bit bigger, and was a good game. I remember playing it on the 3DS and very much enjoying it. This has enhanced visuals. It doesn't mention if there's anything else that's been added for this HD remaster, but it does feature multiplayer both local and online, I think that's for some of the mini games, if I remember correctly. I don't think that's for the main story. Correct me if I'm wrong there, it's been a while since I played it. And it's going to sell for top whack £49.99 when it releases on the 27th.
No spooky adventure is complete without this vacuum-like device, the Poltergust. Use it to light up dark areas, vacuum up objects.
Then we have Neosprint, which comes via Atari, and this is actually a spiritual successor of some of the Sprint games of old, games such as Super Sprint or Championship Sprint, classics of the arcade back in the day. This is a single screen arcade racer for up to 8 players, also includes a track builder and what it calls intuitive sharing tools, and the action takes place from an isometric viewpoint. Now I love isometric racers, I always have done, although they are the sort of games that have the capacity to be incredible or terrible because of that perspective and the controls that then come with it. I played the original Super Sprint a few years ago, obviously I played it back in the day on the 2600, but revisited it a few years ago. I think it was on the Midway Arcade Origins collection, something like that, on the Xbox 360, and it astounded me just how difficult I found it playing it back again in modern day. So it'd be very interesting to see how this new game fares, what sort of changes it's made for a modern audience, and just how it controls. That's always the concern with isometric racers. It's out on the 27th and it will sell for £22.49 or your regional equivalent. Then we have, is it Tchia? I'm going to go with Tchia. I may have pronounced that wrong though. Which the blurb says is a game inspired by New Caledonia. You join Tchia on her tropical open world adventure as she sets off to rescue her father from the cruel tyrant Mavora, ruler of the archipelago. It says you'll be climbing, gliding, swimming and sailing your boat around beautiful islands as you explore a physics-driven sandbox world, and the protagonist's special gift allows you to take control of any animal or object you can find. There are over 30 animals and hundreds of objects to choose from, and you can fly around as a bird, explore the ocean as a fish or dig for treasure as a dog. As I mentioned at the start there, it says that the world that you're exploring was inspired by New Caledonia, and it says that a free update is included in this version which adds 8 new soul melodies, as well as a host of new outfits and cosmetic items. Another game out on the 27th, this will sell for £26.99. Next is A Street Cat's Tale 2, Outside is Dangerous. This is an adventure game telling the stories and actions of house cat Cinnamon's ventures from home. You'll play as Cinnamon, a baby kitten, used to spending his days at home, but after one day following a butterfly that had flown in through the window, he finds himself in the outside world. It looks as if you'll be exploring the neighbourhood, meeting characters, and going on adventures, similar to the game that released recently on the Switch. Was it Little Kitty Big City? That was the one, wasn't it? Albeit this one looks as if it's done from a top-down perspective as opposed to the 3D world of that game. Again, it's out on the 27th and it will sell for £12.19 or your regional equivalent. The penultimate game for the week is Frogue. This is a roguelike bullet hell platformer where you'll be dashing through your enemies, freezing time and throwing your sword to solve puzzles and get through any situation the game throws at you. You'll need to dash to avoid bullets, throw knives to kill them at distance, or freeze time completely and make your own solution should you run out of ideas. It's only £4.49, so it could be a bit of a bargain, we'll see. And I do like the play on words for the title, obviously Rogue being the original roguelike if you like, and the character being a frog, nice little combination there. We'll see how it plays when it releases next week on the 27th. And the final game for the week then is Last Night of Winter. It says that this story takes place in an old stronghold at the last days of a great battle. You died, but your will was stronger than your body, so you woke up again to continue the siege in a never-ending night. There is a non-linear map to explore as you unlock access to new places once you have acquired special items or abilities, so has a bit of a Metroidvania feel to it by the sounds of it. And it also includes fast-paced combat focused on skill, according to the blurb, where every enemy is different from the last. It promises multiple weapons with very different movesets, each of which will change the style of gameplay. This one's out on the 28th and it will sell for £8.99 or your regional equivalent. So there you have it, another week of Nintendo Switch releases. Do any of these games interest you? Will you be picking any of them up? Please do let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget, if you are looking for eShop credit to pick any of these games up, you can get your eShop cards over at our website switchup.gg. Doing so will get you 5% of your purchase price back in cashback, and there are other links down there to places such as PlayAsia with discount codes where you can get yourself a bit of money off of an order. A quick thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.